Testing, one, two, hello, hello, do we have audio? How are we doing, chat? If you can hear this, give me a sign. I'm on the wireless mic because I'm going to be moving around a lot. And I've not wireless mic'd on, I've not used this, it's the Anchorwork M650, and it's a fantastic thing. Loud and clear, I like that. Excellent. So yeah, we're doing something, I say doing something a little bit different. I never do the same thing twice anymore. But it's a Saturday night, and yeah, I got a guitar, and here it is. And so my partner found this in a charity shop just not far from where we live in southeast London, and sent me a picture going, there's electric guitar in the charity shop, and I was like, all right, we'll leave it, and if it's still there on Tuesday. Actually, I said I'd go back and look at it on Monday, and then on Monday I got busy, and so Tuesday I was like, let's go and have a look. And yeah, it's a PRS, so it's a Tremonti SE, which I think is from a little bit of Googling. I know the brand very well. I know PRS, they make lovely, lovely guitars. This one in particular, I don't kind of know a huge amount about it, but it was a very, very kind of good price, and I was like, yes, I will have that, please, and add that to my little collection of guitars. And then I discovered that one, it needs, I've got about another sort of 30 quid's worth. It needs some new electronics, and it's got a couple of cosmetic dings and whatnot, no big deal. But then I also found, when I opened up the case that it came in, it had like 4 guitar leads and a load of picks and a really interesting capo that I've never seen. So yeah, I figure like you win some, you lose some. I've had to spend a bit of cash on bits to get it up and running, but also it included a bunch of stuff that I didn't expect to be there. So yeah, we're gonna make it go. I'm just gonna move this camera a little bit because I want to get you folks to. I think a sort of, bird's eye view of what we're doing here is probably the best way to track along with what we're doing. But the only bit of all the setup that you can see is the bit the cameras are pointing at. The rest of it is chaos. Well, it's not chaos. It's very, very densely orchestrated electronica. So and the other thing that okay, there we go. That's pretty good. So you got me, and you got the thing. So the problem with it is now we're gonna just set up a little something here, because I've got another audio interface here, which I think means I can plug this in, and you'll all be able to hear what the guitar is doing. And if I'd thought this through, I'd have figured out how to wire this into something so I can also hear what the guitar is doing. Yes, I'm supposed to be showing another camera. I hate studio mode in OBS, because I don't normally use it. And yeah, there we go. Thank you, Surly. Yeah, studio mode gives you a big preview of the thing you can see, but it's not live on the stream yet because you haven't pushed the button to switch between the two. There we go. That's what we're supposed to be looking at. That. How's that? There we go. That's it. That. Now I can look at that. That's the. Is the autofocus going to pick it up? Probably not at this distance. But yeah. Yes. Thank you. It's all right. If anyone ever paid me to do this, I would do it properly. But as it is, it's just for fun. Right. Let's figure out what's wrong with it. So first of all, let me grab a guitar lead, and I'm going to see if I can plug this in so that you folks can hear it on the stream. There we go. Because I think, right, if I plug that into, so this is the other new thing that arrived in the workshop this week. This is beautiful. This is the Yamaha AG06 Mark II, which is a USB streaming mixing console thing. And I'll tell you what's happening here is that the autofocus on that camera is set to, there we go, look at that. It's set to face detection, so if it can't find a face, it doesn't know what to look at. So this is just a replacement. I've had the original Mark I of these for years and years and years, and it's a fantastic piece of kit, but it's a little bit tired because it's been to Australia twice and it's been to Russia 5 times, and at some point bits of it just sort of stopped working properly. And that, of course, is now going to complain because let's go with zone autofocus. There we go. That's beautiful. So I think if I plug that into there and I hook that into here, which is there, and bring that across so you folks can see. There we go. Okay, and then I switch that onto loopback and I add that to the input capture. Let's create a new Yamaha on here, and that can be the Yamaha AG06. And so I think you should be able to hear the guitar now. But I can't hear it because I haven't plugged anything into it yet. So I'm going to grab a set of cans and you hear it. Excellent. I can't. Well, I can. I guess I could play a slick lick. It's not really set up. That's the point of the exercise, is to get it slick lick worthy. But let's. All right, that's a start. You hear the crackle, and then it stops, and so it's one of the things we're going to be fixing. That one kind of works. So the Yamaha desk has got like reverb and it's got a little amp sim built in. But even just the reverb on this is kind of like... So yeah, do I take requests? I always take requests. Whether I do them or not is anybody's guess. But I'd say what, we'll fix the electronics, and then we can noodle and we can play around. All right, so the problem that we got is that thing is loose and crackling, and so this little thing here. That's the switch that switches between the front and the back pickup. So that's that one, I think. And okay, so the controls on these things, we got two volume controls, front and back, and we got two tone controls, front and back. So we put it on the whichever, turn everything all the way up. Yeah. Okay, so tone's good. And there's a lot of crackle on the volume pot there. And you see it just kind of like, yeah, it doesn't like that. And then the other one, yeah. Now, spoilers, I figured all this stuff out already, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have the bits. Now there's one other thing that I quite want to have a look at when we're in here, is Stony Eagle Would Like Sweet Child of Mine. That will be the first thing that I play on this guitar. I'd say we could do like a before and after. Sweet Child of Mine and Sultans of Swing. Oh, you're definitely my kind of crowd. So yeah, you see the problem? Like, no stairway or anything else. Like, just denied. Right, let's fix it. Let's get it going nicely. So I'm going to turn that all the way down, and that, and there we go. And Yamaha, this desk is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. I love you, and I said it on stream. Now I'm officially an endorser. You can send me free stuff. Right, okay, so what I want to do, well, first of all, there's going to need new strings, and I'm going to need to oil the fretboard and stuff. So let's take it apart and give it a good clean, and then we can mess with the electronics while we're doing that. So, yep, and all right. Now the nice thing about this guitar is it has a fixed bridge. It's got a hardtail bridge, which means I don't need to worry too much about setting everything up differently if I want to change the string gauge. All right, so those are, yeah, those are over the back and through. All right, that's fine. That's nice. I like that. Pull those out, there we go. Dead guitar strings, what are they good for? Right, and let's get the others off here. That one's out, and so somebody asked in the chat a little while ago about what is a signature guitar, and there's kind of like three. I read a thing earlier today. I read a lot of my phone knows that I will, if you give me a story about guitars or guitar players or anything like that, I'll probably just click on it. And so the algorithm knows me well in that regard. And it was saying that there are basically, there is like some company contacts an artist to go, hey, do you want to make a so-and-so signature? And they're like, yeah. And there's a really interesting example of this, which was a couple of years ago, well, a couple of probably 15 years ago now, Fender built a Mark Knopfler signature Stratocaster, which was absolutely nothing like any of the guitars that Mark Knopfler was playing at that point in his career. But it was like he said it was the sort of the guitar he wished he'd had when he first got a Fender, like first started playing electric guitar in the 1970s, in the sort of, Dire Straits becoming an electric band and Sultans of Swing and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was kind of interesting. The algorithm needs some work, says Stoney. It keeps recommending talks that you have already seen. I'm writing new talks as we speak. Well, I'm not. I'm fixing a guitar as we speak, and between fixing guitars, I'm building a new CSS video training course for Dome Train. But all right, that's cool. Okay, those look good. Okay, that's good. So those are the big, the chunky nuts or bolts that stop the guitar from pinging you in the face. So I'm glad those are looking good. Right, those are fine. That's good. That's good. Okay, that needs a bloody good clean and oiling. Let's get my box of guitar cleany bits out. Yeah, there we go. We'd stick that on it, that'd be fun. There you go. Make a Strato PRS Tremonti caster. No, we're not going to do that. Right, what do we got in here? We'll need that. And we'll need that. And we'll need that. And I don't know, do we need that? So as well as all the various old guitar bits, I got like a load of old pickups and stuff in here, but I think I'm probably... Nah, we'll leave the pickups we got. They sounded pretty good. Just at a sort of a cursory glance. Alright, we're pretty good. So the coming back to questions about signatures. So basically, there are the hey, we want to make a guitar with your name on it, and sometimes this will just be like that musician is already playing a particular kind of guitar, and sometimes the musician will work with the guitar manufacturer, like Steve Vai's guitars. Kind of he designs them and Ibanez build them, so the Steve Vai Gem and the Steve Vai Universe and all those were him going to them and saying, hey, make a guitar that does this and make a guitar that does that, and you know, they put the whole thing together to his specification. And then the absolute extreme is like the Eddie Van Halen Frankenstrat, which is literally a replica of the one that Edward Van Halen himself built in his garage in Pasadena. Right, let's... Grime. Charity shop grime. I'm wondering if I want to get a bit of wire wool to get the worst of the gunk off that before I get stuck in. I think I probably do. Which is this one here. Now this is always fun. Because when you start working with wire wool, what you get is you get little bits of wire pop off. And of course then the little bits of wire stick onto the pickups, because the pickups are magnetic. So we're going to cover them with masking tape first. There we go. So the electric guitar is actually a marvelous applied physics laboratory, because just about every principle of electromagnetism you can demonstrate with one of these. Yeah. So I don't know if you folks can see in the light there, but that one fret there, that one is now kind of shiny and the rest are still dull. So there's a lot of grit on here. So that's all right. It doesn't take long to get it off. Kind of feel like Bob Ross, you know. Just take a little bit of wire wool on here and just get a nice shine up on there. Just for the record, all of you folks it's Saturday night, and what you're doing with your life is you are watching me cleaning stuff. I'm at home on a Saturday night doing the cleaning, and you lot are watching me do the cleaning on the internet. This is like watching a naked watchmaker vid with all the arm cheese. I do not know what any of that is, so I am going to assume that you're referring to a video about somebody who restores wristwatches, and that arm cheese is the yeah. How are we doing? Yeah, this is looking good. Does the guitar have an arm chip? Not yet, but you know. There's a guitar out there that looks really, really interesting. It's by a company called, I don't know the pronunciation of this. It's M-O-O-E-R. Moor or Moa. They're a Chinese company who are getting pretty good reviews for a bunch of their instruments. And they've just brought out a guitar, the Moa GTRS, which has all of its kind of multi-effects built into it, and a wireless transmitter and Bluetooth. So you can turn up to a gig with this guitar. You don't need an amp, you don't need any cables, anything. You literally turn up with the guitar, with the receiver, and with a foot pedal. And the foot pedal's wireless, and it connects to the guitar. So all the patches are on board, because it's got like a signal processing and amp simulator and everything built in. And it's a wireless guitar that genuinely doesn't have a wire. Because the problem with wireless, as I've said many times before, is that you used to have one wire. And now you've got a wire for the transmitter, you've got a charging wire for the transmitter, you've got the power supply for the receiver, and you've got the wire that connects the receiver to whatever it was originally plugged into. And so going wireless means you've got 4 times as many wires as you did when you just had wires. So it's only elbow grease if it's from the elbow region of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling arm cheese. That would be funnier if elbow was E-L-L-E space B-E-A-U, because elbow would be like French, right? Yes? No? I don't know. Well, the good news is that none of these frets have got horrible flat spots or dead spots on them. So I think it has been played. I think this guitar was bought and used and loved by somebody who used it less and less and less. And then eventually one day they were like, the electronics are not working properly, and this doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and that's fallen off, and I just can't be bothered anymore, give it to the charity shop. But it will be lovely. Right. Okay. So there we go, right. Okay, so next thing is me mix up French and Spanish. Never. Yeah, le beau in French, if it was the bow, not elbow, but E-L-L-E is L, which is French for what's it French for? Elle s'appelle, her name is, yeah. It's a feminine, possessive, I don't know. Not a linguist. She, yes. So what you're saying is that the elbow region of France would be grammatically invalid. Okay, so lemon oil onto the fingerboard. These tuners are probably fine. I don't think they need to come off. The action on this thing looked okay. I checked it out. The truss rod, the neck, if you take a sight right down that. So this is the other thing you always want to check, is if you sight literally straight down the neck there, kind of how straight is it? And this one is fine. Absolutely fine. It might be, I have no idea what kind of strings on it. So I'm going to put on my favorite strings and then check it in a couple of days and see whether the neck is bowing forwards or backwards, and tweak the truss rod if I have to. But yeah, quite excited about this. Right, let's put the cleaning bits out of the way. That's metal polish wadding. We'll get on the frets on that once the oil is dried and everything. But while the oil is drying, let's pop these off. Put that out of the way. That can go over there. All elbows, no ebos. I've always wanted to try the ebo. The ebo, those of you who don't know it, it's like a magnetic oscillator that you hold near a guitar string, and it makes the string go. And so you can play the guitar, and it sounds like a violin, it's like an electronic bow. E-bow is where the name comes from. Right, what else we got? We got this thing here needs a bit of love. Yeah, there we go. Actually, you know what? Interesting. This guitar does not have, so it's got these little recessed screws that you can maybe just see. Let me do it on that camera instead. There we go. So you see there's a little screw inside there. It doesn't have individually adjustable seat saddles. So basically, you just kind of fudge it. Most guitars, you can adjust the intonation on each individual string, because although you think if the strings are all the same length, the guitar is in tune, but that's not quite how it works. Yeah, is Ebo the letter, the REM song? I don't know the song, but I do know the title. All right, that's good. That's nice. That's good to go. Those are probably fine, so let's put all of those off to one side. All right, so let's open this thing up and see what the rest of it looks like. Because the other thing I'm curious about is whether it's possible to split these pickups. Because what you can do on quite a lot of the double pickup humbuckers is you can take what's called a coil tap, which is, yes, as BDSL points out, to check whether it's in tune would depend on what temperament. So there is a guitar system out there called the True Temperament fretboard, which, yes, moves the frets or something. The frets on it are not straight. They are moved ever so slightly. And there's also, if you listen to Running with the Devil, by and Ain't Talking About Love by Van Halen from their debut album. The guitar on that album is not tuned to perfect, like, even-tempered concert pitch. It's tuned to what Eddie thought sounded good. And it sounds good because the chords he's playing, the guitar has been tuned to sound great on those chords. But it's why if you tune a guitar with a electric tuner and then play those Van Halen things on it, doesn't sound quite right, because they're not they're not played on a sort of digitally tuned guitar. They're tuned on a Edward Van Halen thought it sounded good guitar. And today I was listening to Graceland by Paul Simon, and the opening track on that is this song, The Boy in the Bubble, which is wonderful. And I grabbed the guitar to try and play along, and the one on the record is about like 300 cents sharp, I think, so it's not actually recorded in concert pitch. All right, how are we looking? So, right, that's the yellow one. So let me grab a notepad so I can scribble down some notes. And I mean, I could just tell you, and then you all can remember what went where and stuff, but then if we do that, nobody can drop off stream until it's done. Actually, it's going on Twitch and YouTube, but I'm not recording it locally. All right, what do we got? So the neck pickup is yellow. The bridge pickup is the yellow one, and the neck pickup is white. Now, the fascinating thing about this particular design of guitar is the switch is here, which means that the pickups run through the body. There's a cavity drilled through there. They run into the wiring cavity on the back, which we'll take a look at in a second now. And then they run all the way back up here to the toggle switch, and then they run all the way back down again. Which reminds me of, there's a nerve in mammals that comes up and it kind of loops around one of the bones at the back of the base of the skull at the top of the neck, or and in most animals it's just fine, but in giraffes that nerve goes all the way up the neck, loops around, and comes all the way back down for no reason whatsoever. It's just that's kind of where it got rooted into the blueprint, and then giraffes evolved. And yeah, that's kind of what we got going on here. If that switch was over there, this wiring job would be really easy, but no. Right, so the bridge is yellow, the neck is white. Cool. Okay, let's put those back in enough that they're not going to fall out. And BDSL wrote a beep utility once that was supposed to be a replacement for the standard command line beep, but so how did that not use the PC speaker? I mean, what era of PC development are we talking about here? We on DOS, Windows? We talking the era of AdLib and Sound Blaster? Oh, okay, hang on. I should have checked these were all the same length. Right, that one's there. Okay, so I guess in these two, the short one, okay, the short ones go at the front of the neck pickup. 2000 on Linux. So 1997, my first kind of serious computer, first computer I ever had with a proper sound card and stuff in it. I put Red Hat on it, Red Hat 4, and trying to get, hello Marie, yeah, trying to get it to play MIDI files on my my Sound Blaster AWE64, and actually, you know what? These are going all the way back. This is the safest place to put the screws is in the holes they came out of, and that one is binding ever so slightly, so maybe that one wants to go in there. And yeah, I recompiled the Linux kernel. I spent about 3 weeks doing this, just trying things out, and I didn't have internet or a spare computer. So what I had to do was to go into the computer labs at university, look up every piece of documentation I thought I might need, print it out, go back to my room, try it out, see what happened, and yeah, days and days and days of work, and I got it up and running. And I played the soundtrack to The Neverending Story. I had a really good MIDI file of The Neverending Story by Giorgio Moroder. And I played that, and I was like, it sounds amazing. And that was the end. I never ever played another MIDI file on Linux on that machine again. Kind of once I got Linux working properly, it stopped being interesting. And I went back to running Windows as my main system, and I have done pretty much ever since. Right, let's see what we can see. So the idea here is to get this whole thing electrically sound. So swap out all the crackly components and everything and get the whole thing working so that we can... Okay, so these are all, those are all the same. Cool, and yeah, they're pretty good. A little bit of dirt on them, that's all right, we can live with that. Right, let's put, what I need a little, like a little pot to put all the pieces in so they don't ping around. The other thing about having like a big thick black towel is that if I drop screws, one, they just go, oh yeah, you dropped us, and they stay where you dropped them. They don't go ping and bounce across the room. And yeah, the Adobe suite is one of the things that keeps me on Windows. And there is, I mean, you know, Linux is amazing and there's fantastic stuff on it, but there is nothing close to After Effects on, and I run it on Windows and Mac, so I'm a little bit agnostic. There we go. The empty takeaway containers. Now in my head, these takeaway containers, they have this little logo on them, which is vaguely reminiscent of the Spock's Beard band logo, and so in my head, these are the Spock's Beard takeaway containers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, good, 7 of those. So those are there, those are not gonna ping away. Right. That and that can go back in that box. That can go back in there, and let's see what we can see. That's like that old game Operation, you remember that one? Okay. Right, that looks good. I think the switch is fine. The one other thing that I want to check is that in my little pile of components, I got some new knobbly bits to go on the end of the switches. Yep. Oh look, free pick. musiclily.com. Come on, come on, come on. You know what you can see there? I think there's a green screen filter on that camera. Which of course is not doing anything because there's nothing green in front of it. Let's take a look. Yeah. There you go. Now you can see the pick properly. Yeah. Chinese brand. I found them on Amazon, but they seem to be pretty good. Now, if I'm lucky, that will fit on there. And we'll just... Oh, beautiful. Do I want to clean that? Yeah. Okay, so switch is good. That's not going anywhere. See the old the Gibson Les Pauls have a like a little ring around this with treble and what is it, rhythm and lead or rhythm and treble or something on it, and I've seen one of those which is aftermarket one you can put on, and it says more Paul and Les Paul, so knob feel. Well, it's a big deal. Like I've got a Cambridge Audio amp unit here, which was Queen of Darts, who I think is still hanging out in the chat. Actually belongs to her, but I sort of permanently borrowed it a long time ago, and it's got the most just the wonderfully smooth. It's just so satisfyingly, yeah. Knob feels big deal. Or right. Anyway, where did we get to? We've got knackered electronics on this guitar, and it doesn't sound very good. So I'm thinking that what I probably want to do is to put some strings on this, because the pickups are staying where they are. The tailpiece can go back in because I've cleaned that up already, and it is going to be much easier to figure out what's going on. There's two ways you can test guitar electronics. One of them is with a multimeter, and the problem with multimeters these days is they're all digital, and I like analog multimeters because when you touch something, a little needle goes twing, twing. Does Queen of Darts mean you're a dressmaker? I shall leave Queen of Darts to explain the significance of Queen of Darts. Yeah, let's put some strings on this thing, and then we can get in the back and we can mess with all the electrics, because it's going to be much easier to figure out what is wrong with it if it's got strings on. Right, strings. Loop. You folks get to see all the stuff that's normally behind the green screen. Isn't that lovely? Primo Slinky, 9.5 to 44. Because 9/1000ths of an inch is too skinny and 10/1000th of an inch is too chunky. And I'm not kidding either. I really like these strings, and that is literally the difference. Right, 44, bang. Through. And that loops incredibly, like, I guess it's fine. It's just the break angle where it comes over the top of the bridge there is, yeah, don't like it. It's giving me the fear. Right. Chunky wire cutters, let's get that about there. 34. Just make sure I've got all the oil off the fingerboard. am I worried about chafing? Not so much chafing as because it doesn't move. Once the string's over the bridge, it's just going to stay there. It's just if there's any kind of manufacturing defect or weakness in the string, it's going to snap there. Like no doubt about it. But I think it'll probably be all right. How are we doing? Let me get. More arm cheese coming up. See that? Human beings are disgusting. Secrete oils and yuck everything they touch. There we go. How many frets this got? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's basically like a PRS. That's not dirt, though. That's the chemical reaction between the metal and the stuff in brass. Is it? Today I learned. I always assumed it was just filth. Mainly because after a while it stops happening. Right. Okay, we're good. We're good. Right, I'm going to wash my hands. I'll be back in a moment. Thank you. And a shout out to Frank Drebin in The Naked Gun for reminding an entire generation to switch off wireless microphones when they go into their bathroom. So what we've learned in the chat, thank you chat for imparting this delicious wisdom, is you can get the crease where your nose meets your face, and that is a anti-reflective coating for lenses, and therefore very popular in astronomy. Ooh, speaking of astronomy and noses, time to tell one of my favorite really stupid trivia facts. Tycho Tycho Brahe, or Brahe, or however you pronounce it, had a brass nose because he lost the real one in a sword fight. And, well, he says he lost the real one in a sword fight. Hello, welcome to the stream. Today we're doing science with nose oil. I mean, I could have a go. I got a camera on and everything. I could do that. I'd smear some of it on the lens and, yeah, no. Yes, Queen of Darts. Try it for science. It's not yucky, Stoney, it's just science. Lost it at a party, King Missile style. There was, isn't there a theory that he got like syphilis or something? Right. Of course, what you lot can't see is me trying to do everything with the wrong hand. Let's not do it with the wrong hand. Let's swing that around to there. Yeah, no, still wrong-handed error. Ambidextrosity. Could do with a bit of that. Ooh. Yeah, I've got a better string winder here somewhere. This one is not. Right, 3, 4. Now I get to flip it around. Ping. There you go. And a 12 and a 9.5. Do not get them the wrong way around, or you will accidentally have invented the banjo. Tried the science, ended up with smeary glasses and no discernible anti-fog properties. However, did a cleansing face mask and then applied moisturizer. Yeah. Pass on the baton of the science. I got this super weird feeling like these tuners are on backwards. You know? And I don't think they're backwards. But let me... Yeah, no, they're the same. Just, it feels like the tuning knobs are turning the wrong way, which is kind of strange, but... Right. So, snip, snip, snip. Ah, listen to that. And I plug it in so you can all hear how beautiful it sounds. Right, let's tune it, because tuning's good. The correct amount of string to leave dangling is, I think, as little as possible, because you can actually, certainly the bigger strings, if you stab yourself in the thumb with the end of one of them, it really, really hurts. So, all right, how are we doing? We got That's interesting. So you hear that? It's got a little bit of buzz on it, so we just need to raise the action ever so slightly on the treble side. Yeah, there we go. I think that's done it. Yeah. Maybe a little higher. All right. Let's figure out what's going on with these electronics. So the technical term, I think, is that they're all a bit wobbly and crap. But that's all right. We can fix them. We have the technology. Okay. Switch is fine. That's fine. That's fine. So that's not fine. Let's take all this stuff out. Yeah, I think that the potentiometers are just kind of worn to the point where they are... I need a socket set. My socket set is downstairs, and I will be back in a minute. And I may take the opportunity to do a little... There we are. I'm just going to prepare a little musical interlude. There we go. And da 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 dum. Yeah. No. This is me digging through my own folders of my own stuff to try to find a particular interlude. There we go. We'll be right back after these messages.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 17, use flat screens. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, flat screens would be it. The benefits of flat screens have been proved in Hollywood, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the confidence and optimism of greenfield projects. Oh, never mind. You'll not appreciate the confidence and optimism of greenfield till things start going wrong. But trust me, when you finally ship, you'll look back at the code you wrote and recall in a way you can't grasp now how simple everything seemed and how productive you really were. Your code is not as bad as you imagine. Don't worry about changing database providers, or worry, but know that every company who used an ORM in case they needed to switch databases never actually did it. The real problems in your projects are the dependencies you can't control. The engineer who unexpectedly leaves your team at 4 p.m. on some idle Tuesday. Learn one thing every day that scares you. Optimize. Don't reformat other people's code bases. Don't put up with people who reformat yours. Rebase. Don't get obsessed with frameworks. Sometimes they help, sometimes they hurt. It's the user experience that matters, and the user doesn't care how you created it. Remember the retweets you receive, forget the flame bait. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. Keep your old hard drives. Throw away your old network cards. Refactor. Don't feel guilty if you don't understand F#. Some of the most productive junior developers I've worked with didn't know F#. Some of the best systems architects I know still don't. Write plenty of tests. Be kind to your keys. You'll miss them when they're gone. Maybe you have a degree, maybe you don't. Maybe you have an open source project, maybe you don't. Maybe you wrote code that flew on the space shuttle. Maybe you worked on Microsoft SharePoint. Whatever you do, keep improving, and don't worry where your next gig's coming from. There's a big world out there, and they're always gonna need good developers. Look after your brain. Don't burn out, never be scared to take a break. It is the most powerful computer you will ever own. Launch. Even if you have no users but your own QA team. Have a plan, even if you choose not to follow it. Do not read the comments on YouTube, they will only make you feel angry. Cache your package dependencies. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Read your log files. They're your best source of information and the first place you'll notice if something's starting to go wrong. Understand that languages come and go, and it's the underlying patterns that really matter. Work hard to fill the gaps in your knowledge, because the wiser you get, the more you'll regret the things you didn't know when you were young. Code in 8.6 assembler once, but stop before it makes you smug. Code in Visual Basic once, but stop before it makes you stupid. Read. Accept certain inalienable truths. Your code has bugs, you will miss your deadlines, and you too might end up in management. And when you do, you'll fantasize that back when you were a developer, code was bug-free, deadlines were met, and developers tuned their database indexes. Tune your database indexes. Don't deploy your code without testing it. Maybe you have a QA team, maybe you have integration tests. You never know when either one might miss something. Don't mess too much with your user interface, or by the time you ship, it will look like a karaoke booth. Be grateful for open source, but be careful whose code you run. Sharing code is noble, but there's more to it than taking bits of your project's folder, putting a README file on them, and hoping if you upload it to GitHub, someone else will come along and fix all your problems. But trust me, on the flat screens.
Hello. So there are two. BDSL, the most powerful computer I've ever owned. No, I absolutely stand by that. Even if they invent a computer that is more powerful than a human brain, you will never own one. You will be allowed to rent it. But I do not think they are going to invent a computer that is more powerful than a human brain, because we don't understand intelligence well enough to even begin to measure the thing. And they're going, we're going to have automated general intelligence. But anyway, let's do guitar electronics, because that's more fun. Also, I have a delicious refreshing... I have a delicious refreshing beverage. Happy Saturday night, folks. Right. So, right, let me grab a socket. There we go. And, right. Nope. Nope. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to take all these out, then we're going to wire the thing in, and I'm going to see if I can figure out... I think the problem is both of the volume potentiometers. The beverage is not Belgian, the beverage is a Punk IPA, which is being enjoyed on the dubious grounds that it's the only thing in the fridge, other than a 9% Ukrainian porter. And I'm going to be soldering in a moment, and I think I learned in death school that you shouldn't drink 9% stout when you're about to start doing things with electricity and heat. So, right, that's there, that's there, that's there. We'll need that back in a second. That can go over there. All right. So, oops, and don't knock the bits over. All right. Spring washers, spring washers, spring washers, spring washers. 4 of those out of there. Okay, so now I think these potentiometers are just knackered, but I also want to know if... Okay, so I don't think there's a coil tap coming off these pickups. So I think we're just going to do a like-for-like replacement on the pots, which should be fine. Yeah, those ones look a bit yucky. Okay, so what are we looking at? We've got that one's all right. The tone pots I think are fine. Let me cut out that little cable tie there, because that'll give us enough room to play around. There we go. Right. Okay, so interesting. Okay. Of course. So the switch is the switch is there. So what happens is the pickups come down here. So that's the yellow wire and the white wire. And the yellow wire and the white wire, they get down to here. Let me swap out that camera lens so you folks can actually see what I'm on about here. Nope, not that box. Maybe this box. This is going to go very blurry for a second, and then it'll go ooh, and be crisp and shiny again. Yellow bridge, white neck. Did I remember right? Bridge yellow, neck white. Excellent work, stream. Chat got your back. Right. That, I think, is all right. Actually, we're going to work our way down. We're going to start off with the potentiometers and work our way towards the jack socket, in case that's just the last thing, because the pots are definitely wonky, definitely not good. So, okay, that's out of the way. That's nice. That stays. So I need to do a like-for-like replacement on that. But the way these things get built is that they kind of use the casing of the potentiometer as like a common ground. And so open camera body must be like f over 0.1. Yeah, it's just all the light, all the time, none of the focus. All right. So not those ones, these ones. See, these ones are new because they're shiny, and these ones are not new because they're marginally less shiny. So we're going to replace not shiny with shiny, and that will make everything good and better and fine and work. And we are going to do this by the time-honored technique of finding a piece of scrap cardboard from somewhere, which is going to be a problem because I cleaned out my house yesterday. I know where there's one. Of course, you folks can still hear me because the magic of wireless means I'm transmitting across the void. What I am doing is yeah. All will become clear in a moment. Big piece of tactical construction cardboard, mainly so I can stick that on there, I can punch holes in it, and it'll hold these pots in place while I unsolder and resolder them. So let's do that. So let's grab a slightly smaller hole. Okay. Sweet, right. So the folks in the chat are talking about focal length and focal, well, if I remember my A-level physics correctly, there's focal length and there's focal distance. And focal distance is how far away the thing is, and focal length is the depth of field. But maybe I've got that wrong. I did pass that exam, but then I didn't really do physics again after that for a long while. Right. It's bad to get real, yo. Solder station. This thing's magic. This thing is fantastic. If all you've ever used for soldering is one of those little kind of handheld hobby soldering irons, so bad. This thing is just lovely. Like, I thought soldering was horrible, and I couldn't understand why anyone ever did it for fun, and everything I ever did, I tried really, really hard to get it right, and turns out I was just using crappy, like, 25-watt soldering irons. Bought this thing, and yeah, it's just fantastic. Right, let me put the control box up here out of the way. Yeah, that can go there. No, that cannot go there. That is a dumb place to put that. That can go. There. It could be a pots and pans stream. We can do that. We can do that. You ready? Those are the pots. And you ready for this? Those are the pans. Look at that. Ah, beautiful. Right, let me plug that in. About 450 ought to do it. Now we got one of those and one of those. And what I'm looking to do here is a literally like for like. Unsolder that pot and replace it with that pot with all the same things wired in exactly the same order in exactly the same place. Because this is no time to be making changes. Yeah, okay. I was having a moment of why is the cable that goes from here to the switch connected to to ground, but it's not connected to ground. It's a shielded cable. It's the shielding is been tapped off and connected to ground. Yeah, we good. All right. As soon as the solder station is heated up, the chat is currently recapping all my favorite bits of A-level physics. Someone just got onto temperature. You know, the thing that kind of blew my mind is I spent a year trying to work out what a specific heat capacity was and just could not get it, could not understand it. And then there were two explanations which completely clicked. One was someone said, you know, when you get a McDonald's apple pie and you can sort of nibble the pastry around the edge, but if you bite the middle, you burn your mouth. They're at the same temperature. And I was like, yes, of course they are. Oh, and it was like, yeah, that's so specific heat capacity is how much energy you have to put into something to make it hot. But then by the same kind of comparison, it's if you touch something against your skin, how much energy it dumps into your skin to try to cool itself down. And that's why you can nibble the edges around the apple pie crust, but you can't eat the apple pie filling. And then the other brilliant thing I said is it's thermal momentum. It's like the difference between if you've got like a volleyball and a bowling ball, and they're both traveling towards you at 10 miles an hour. You know, if a volleyball hits you at 10 miles an hour, it's going to bounce. If a bowling ball hits you at 10 miles an hour, it's going to hurt. And they're doing the same speed, but it's a question of how much energy it takes for them to approach an equilibrium state between you and them. Welcome to the stream. Tonight we're doing physics, specific heat capacity, and we're about to do some soldering. Isn't that nice? Right, let's... so I'm going to snip some of this. All right. Just get my little... Just going to moisten the sponge for the solder tip. Come on. Okay, that's good. That's fizzing. There we go. Right. It's remarkable how quickly the entire assembly heats up when you're doing this. Very, very fine line between getting it hot enough to melt the joint you're working on and getting it so hot that the innards of the thing start falling apart. And I say that as somebody who frequently does not manage to land on the correct side of that fine line. Right, so that one is on there. Let me check that. Cable looks good. And so we want that one wired into there. May need to get... there we go, we good? I have some helping hands here somewhere which are tremendously useful for doing this kind of thing. Yeah. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Right. BDSL is a fellow Kagi user. I love Kagi. It's remarkable how good search is when you pay for it. And instead of them just trying to sell you stuff all the time, they just show you the thing you're probably looking for and you get on with your day. Right. Okay, there we go. That's on. And now this is the part I always hate, is trying to get this thing to stick. And somewhere I have some... Okay. Right, that's good. Okay, so that's those. Now what's... So that one popped off before I got a chance to note where it was stuck on, which is going to make the next phase of this very interesting indeed. All right. I'm guessing that must run through, straight through the center. Oh, that's nice. See that? You see how that one right there, right at the bottom of the thing. Yeah, it soldered up really nice. Really just boom. Come on, that's it. Which means that one must be the common ground as well. Yeah, the problem with soldering directly onto the back of the pot is basically as soon as the solder's on there, it's attached to a massive chunky heatsink. There we go. That's got it. All right. And so I guess by a process of elimination that the hot wire's out of the pickup here now. That one's the shield, and so that one must be the signal. So if I spin that around just a little more, we'll drop that one onto there. And that one onto the back, which I'll probably just stick another blob on the side of what we got on there and get it in on that one. Right. Okay. So if that worked, I should now have clean volume and tone on one of the pickups. And if it didn't work, I won't. So let's see what we... Yeah, that's what we're trying to improve on there. That's not actually bad. It's bright. If they go dull, it means you've got a dry joint. It means there's air inside the solder and you might not get a good electrical connection. Right. Pop that one out. Put those back in there just for a minute. Hook that back into there. Clean that. Do I have enough? Yes, we do. Okay. All right. So that's the one I just wired in. I hear that. Beautiful. Perfect. So we got clean volume on that. It's not crackling anymore. Interesting. Right, I must have miswired something because the tone is now doing nothing. So the way the tone works is that it taps the amount of the signal that is getting grounded via the capacitor here. And fun fact, capacitors, they have a charge and discharge cycle, which means that if you put high enough frequency through them, the frequency doesn't come out the other side because the signal up, down, up, down, up, down is actually positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Hello, Shadow. Yes, this is the guitar that I mentioned on the stream the other day, and we are going through and giving it a little bit of love and tweaking the electrics and replacing some of the components which are not quite entirely how they were supposed to be, which is fine. Right, so the problem is the volume's working, the tone isn't. Let me see how the other one's wired up. Because, okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've wired that completely backwards. That's all right. So let's put that back on. How was that set up? That was like that. Like that? Like that. Yeah, there we go. One of those, one of those. One of those. Yeah, the bits on this kind of pinged off as I was removing the old solder joints. And yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So let's do that again. All right, so the hot pickup goes to the same one as the capacitor. Yeah, okay. I think I see what's going on here. That's back in there. Grab those and pop that out and up so we can see what we're doing with it. I'm just enlarging the hole there a tiny bit so I can get this cable through it. Cable? Well, it's probably a wire. What's the difference between a wire and a cable? I don't know. Okay, right. Good, so that's on there. Solder that, sweet. And then I think on the old one, yeah, they just did the thing where they bend one of the legs of the, you see that? You just bend it back until it touches its own housing and then put a blob of solder on it, which I don't like very much because it's inelegant. So let's do this properly. Twist that, swing that around. So I just need to ground that to there with something, and somewhere here I have wire. Look at this. It's like a pick and mix of electric wire, and you can tell. Hello, Big Stacks. There's an excellent handle, by the way. I've always thought one of the problems with the world is that snacks are not large enough. Yes, this evening's stream is a guitar that I was a very lovely person spotted in a charity shop and sent me a picture, and I headed down and went, yep, I'll have that, and turns out it had a couple of dodgy pots and whatnot, so we are getting it up and running. Well, I am. The rest of the stream are just providing moral support and talking about physics, but hey, you know. What else are you going to do on a Saturday night? I had another pair of that loop. There we go. Boom. Boom. Sweet. That went well. That went very well. Get a little piece of wire, cut it to just the right length, solder one end on. You got to solder the other end on. The first end just comes loose and it falls off onto the ground. Winning, 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 winning. I make a new one. Oh no, it's all right. I got a little leg there. That'll do. I think it's technically Sunday morning for me. Yeah, it's 6 minutes into Sunday for me. Stoney says they're a nervous wreck because they got the emote set back from the artist they commissioned. Well, that sounds like a good thing to... Yes, Queen of Darts is quite proximate in case of explosions or screaming or, you know, we'll be fine. Very, very low probability of me burning my finger again, like I just did. Right. See if we got a volume and tone on this one this time. Oh no, rule 0 is very much in effect. Do not worry, there will be no setting on fire. Right. Perfect. Listen to that. All right, so we've got to swap that one out. And then I think we're gold. I think we're good to go. And then I get to go to sleep and spend all day tomorrow writing about CSS. Yay. Right. So what did I just do? I fixed that one. That one's the good one. All right, so let's grab this one. That's in there. That's in there. And same deal. So the leg closest is just soldered back to itself. You know what? I'm going to do this one donkey fashion because right. It's impossible to see whether that's actually made an electrical joint or not. Let me put a bit of flux around the joint. There we go, that's got it. Okay, so that one. Okay, and the hot from the pickup goes to BDSL. Are you writing a CSS? Well, right now, BDSL, I am writing a CSS video course. But the wonderful thing about CSS is there's a lot of excellent, very, very good stuff in it. And there's a lot of stuff in it which is completely, like, just off the scale bizarro. And so all of the important, serious, this is how you do your job well as a full-stack engineer stuff is going into the Dome Train course. And I'm running a little file alongside it of all the completely unhinged stuff that I found as we've been going along, which is going to get turned into a conference talk, and probably a couple of YouTube videos as well about like CSS and all the bizarre and weird and wonderful things that it does now. Right. Okay. And right, so that's the I'm going to clean that one up. That's not good. So the thing, Stony, the thing about the YouTube series is when I started doing it last year, I I resolved I was going to do a video every day for a video every week, rather, every Monday afternoon, see how it went for a while. And the plan was to use that to build up an audience so that I could start selling training videos, so that I could make my living out of training without having to get on an airplane every time somebody wanted me to tell them how to design distributed systems or whatever. Which, you know, is a great idea and everything. But what I then discovered was that it is way easier to find somebody who's already done that and get them to sell the training for you. And that's when I started working with Dome Train. And then I discovered that actually making training videos is an order of magnitude more work and time and effort than anything I think I've ever done in my life. And so at the moment, I got one of those out there now. The other one is in work in progress at the moment. And what I'd love to do is get back to the point where the videos are out there and, you know, they're bringing in kind of enough revenue that I get to relax a little bit and goof off and do fun stuff. Which obviously it's Saturday night right now and I'm soldering guitars on the internet, so it's not like I have no capacity for fun stuff. But it got to a point where I was spending about 2 days a week making each one of those little YouTube videos, and a really, really good one would earn about, I think the most I ever made off one YouTube video was about $250. And you cannot live in London if you are spending 2 days working on something and it is bringing you $250. And so I kind of, I didn't give up entirely, but I've had to shift priorities for a while. But I do have the rest of the letters in the alphabet series. I know what they're going to be. And, well, most of them. There's a couple in there that, yeah, the thing about YouTube is you got to keep plugging, like, you got to, every single week, you got to have more video and more video and more video, and then the algorithm sends you more and more subscribers, and when you get to, you know, I got to about 23,000 people subscribed on there, and, yeah, it did, you know, it's not nothing. YouTube pays for all my streaming, so I have YouTube Pro, and Amazon Prime and Disney and Netflix and everything. But they will be back. I really enjoyed doing them. It's the kind of thing that is a lot less fun when you're spending time doing that and worrying about where your next actual chunk of paid work is coming from. So, but K is going to be for K. Because we had this whole thing back in the days of home computing, like, you know, early mini and microcomputing, about, you know, there was the BBC 32K and the Spectrum 64K, Spectrum 48K, and the Commodore 64K, and 640K should be enough for anybody. And I'm going to geek out about the memory management system built into the original IBM PC. You know, there are 3 things in the world that carry the code 5150. One of them was the original PC, was the 5150. Second, actually, the PC was called the 5150. And the California Police Department code for detaining somebody against their will for psychiatric health reasons is a 5150. And for whatever reason, Edward Van Halen named his home studio after that code. So his studio was called 5150. And then the first album that Van Halen made with Sammy Hagar, which I think is the best album they ever did, was called 5150. So we have this code that means the original IBM PC and is police code for a dangerous psychotic person. And a Van Halen album. And yeah, I love a good coincidence. Right, let's see what we can see here. So, I think we should be good to go. Right, that's in. All right. Oop, hang on. Yeah, we got a loose connection. Abort. Retract the device. Will there be heavy metal umlauts in the alphabet? Yeah. KB versus KB versus KIB. Absolutely, I will explain KB versus KB versus KIB. Oh yeah, that one should be stuck on there. Oops, yeah. Solder does this thing. It's like, no, I'm liquid metal, but I do not stick to anything. No, 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 no. You've been misinformed. There's no adhesion here. Let me slap flux all over everything, because that should make it stick. Come on, come on, come on. When in doubt, more solder. All right, I think that's good. Are you using leaded solder? No. No, the solder is lead-free, so it's not actually solder. At least I think it's lead-free. I bought it in a regular high street shop in England, so... There we go, look at that. Lead-free. Right. We got front and back. Surly, I was just thinking exactly that. Like, this lead-free dispenser, which is made of clear plastic, contains lead. All right. Weird. So the two new volume controls that I bought, which came out of the same packet from the same order from the same manufacturer, one of them's really, really kind of smooth, and the other one is a lot stiffer. But I guess that's just manufacturing. They were not hugely expensive. All right. Time to turn off the soldering iron. And let's put this lot back together. Now, having never played a Gibson Les Paul, I kind of don't have strong feelings about which way round these are all supposed to go, but I'm guessing it's one of those things. So bridge is yellow, neck is white. So let's put the neck pickup there. So where did my spring washers go? There we go. So that's there. And we'll hang its tone control behind it. And That's there, and we'll hang that one's tone control behind that. And then the fun part is having to screw the retaining nuts back onto the things upside down while you can't see what you're doing, because if you turn it upside down, all the bits fall out. Right. So that lot's all back in there. Now let me just pop off the jack socket plate, because it's much easier to get the jack socket mounted properly if it's not stuck on a guitar while you're working on it. So we'll pop that out. So you folks in the chat talking about letters being missing and stuff, one of my, not missions, but something that I sort of pay attention to when the opportunity presents itself, is to try and get a chicken shop for every letter of the alphabet. Because obviously, you know, KFC is the one that sort of started it all, and around South London where I live, we have any number of fried chicken shops named after states that nobody else was using yet. So we got like a Mississippi fried chicken and a Tennessee fried chicken, and in Zurich last year I saw a ZFC, which was a Zurich fried chicken, and I was like, oh, that ticks off one of the easy ones. So do I have a socket driver that will fit that? Possibly. No, that's too big. There we go. All right. I'm quite looking forward to having this together. Queen of Darts says, is everything okay over where you are? That is normal. Absolutely normal. I live on a relatively busy road in southeast London, and there's often, you know, characters enjoying the night air. It's fine. If the people on the street start causing distress, what I will do is plug in my concert PA system and give them some classical rock fusion music. Blast out skies where opposites meet at 110 decibels until they decide they're going to go and explore their individuality somewhere else. Right, one more thing we got to do. See that? That's not supposed to be a hole. But I think look. Oh, look at that. Right, dead pots. They, yeah. Go in there as a fun activity for another day. And that is a strap button retaining screw, and that is a strap button, and so's that, and so's that, and I mean, I could put strap locks on it, but I don't like strap locks very much because you need both ends the same. Yeah. That one. Oh, hang on, that's interesting. That screw doesn't fit through that hole. So I want that one, it'll have to be that one. There we go, yeah. Oh, ah. You don't have a box of wee for the dead pots to go? No, I never throw anything away. Dead electricals is just treasure waiting to happen. Right. The plot thickens. The reason why the strap buttons come out is because the screw has actually pulled out. Now I think that this is a bigger screw and so will probably still bite. But let's be absolutely certain that no, that's just going round and round and round and round and round. All right, so what do I need? Ordinarily a matchstick and some wood glue, but I don't have a matchstick and some wood glue, but what I have is a dowel and some super glue, which will probably do the trick. What I need is a wood sliver that is thick enough that when I glue it into the hole, the screw will bite. But then still thin enough that the screw will actually fit into the hole. Yeah, I do actually want a matchstick for this. I don't think this dowel is going to do the trick. All right, that can go back in the stash. For some reason, there are half a dozen burnt matches in my toolbox. Convenient. really good. All right. So I just realized that the folks listening in on the stream, you can hear the drama that's happening outside. I can't, because I've had my incredibly good keep all the noise out headphones on. I don't think anything terribly important is happening outside. All right. Ooh, hang on. Almost. Gotta tighten the things up in it. Stoney says, which of the guitars behind you is your favourite? All of them. Well, if anything happened to any of them, I'd be heartbroken. But probably the... I don't know. I literally can't answer that. Can I estimate a total cost? Well, The guitar was £300. It's worth between 300 and 500. I spent about 30 quid on components to get the new thing and the new pots for it. That other strap button was already in my box of spares, and the one I picked so the guitar that gets played the most is this one, because this is the one that goes on the aeroplanes when I go to other places, and so that one has been all over the world, and it's played more concerts than all my others put together, but it's not by any means the best guitar. Right, I'm just gonna, this might go on YouTube, I'm gonna try and adjust the camera angle ever so slightly. Yeah, there we go, that's buggered it. Ha! Yay. All right. Oh, you hear that? Need to jack up the bridge just a little as well. Ooh. Da-da-da-da-da. That's better. Right, so we can get so that's running through the amp simulator on the little Yamaha desk here. And one of those pickups is... You hear that? One of those is a lot louder than the other. Getting a lot more coming through the... I need to check why that pickup is so quiet compared to the other one. Probably just loose contact touching something somewhere. I'm also going to go to bed in 10 minutes, so whether we're victorious or not, we will be wrapping this up. But thank you for hanging out, folks. This has been fun. Let me switch back to the... there you go. All right. Needs more electromagnetism. Yes, that is exactly the problem. There is not enough electromagnetism. Right, which pickup was which? Bridge is yellow. Yeah, I think I see the problem. I think that pickup is touching the edge of the grounding cavity. Not pickup, sorry, the potentiometer. That's... yeah, that's still, maybe it's just not a very hot pickup. I mean, it's... It's just funny, normally the bridge is flatter than the neck. That's all I know of Stairway to Heaven. I can't remember the next chord. Front pickup sounds good though. Right, let me put the case back on, or the cover rather, and then perhaps we'll finish with a song, so that if the stream gets taken down for copyright violation, we don't need to worry about it. You don't have to play very well at all to trick the algorithm, Stoney. I have done a like a sound check for a live stream before where I did 45 minutes of mics and things, and then I played 3 chords of Highway to Hell by AC/DC out of tune, out of time, and I got a message saying the algorithm had detected a recording. Right, let's see what we've... That's on loop back. That should be fine. Let's see if this works. Right, let's set that to that one. Ooh, tuning's not quite on, is it? Let's fix that. I think the guitar works. That's nice. Should we play another one and then go to bed? Find my big folder of bits of music. There we go. Yeah. It works. All right. Thank you for hanging out, gang. That was fun. Local hero. What's the... I haven't played that in 10 years. All right. Folks, thanks for tuning in. That was fun. Look, we made it go, and it works. And I will be taking this out and gigging it around the open mics of Southeast London over the next couple of weeks. So, yeah. Look after each other. Have fun out there. And I'll catch you next time I have some random bit of stuff I decide would be fun to do live on the internet. Good night, folks.